and justice for all.
Thank you for being in attendance. We appreciate that.
You ready?
I think I drew the short straw here to get this thing in.
Is it not?
Okay, we're ready to roll here. Under MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. That's a public announcement, and we do have to tell the audience you are being recorded. Nobody seems to mind, but anyway.
Thanks for that.
I don't have any particular welcome comments from the chair this evening, although I do note that our next meeting is 2 weeks from now. What's that?
It's not next week, it's 2 weeks.
So we're going to talk about that. I won't be here that following week, the 8th.
But it is the 8th, the night
It's
before the
scheduled for the
election,
8th.
yeah. But we can talk about it later if you're so inclined. We do have an executive session tonight, or that will be later on, and so everybody knows. Any acknowledgements and recognitions? Okay. All right, then we'll go right into the agenda. Welcome everybody who's here again. This is a public hearing. There are actually 3 public hearings tonight on different subjects. And the first of them is a request to approve the layout of Rita Lane Extension as shown on the plan entitled Roadway Layout Plan of Rita Lane Extension, Westport, Massachusetts, prepared for Twin Pines Westport Realty Trust, dated December 12, 2023. Jim, could you give us some
I believe
insight here?
Mr. Carey is here if he wants to give an update. We do have while he's coming up here, we do have a recommendation from the planning board. It's a non-binding recommendation. It says they unanimously voted to recommend the acceptance of Rita Lane Extension contingent upon formal acceptance of White Oak Run as a town-owned and maintained road. The planning board considered the submissions from the town planner and consulting engineer Derek Mello of SW Cole and noted the following outstanding items at the Rita Lane Extension. Per the bylaw regulations of the town of Westport, Mass., section 0708.2, the surface course of the road must be tested to verify conformity to the Massachusetts DPW specifications. A street sign in the road layout does not meet Westport Highway Department's standards, and a stop sign is missing along the roadway. Catch basins should be cleaned and oiled and debris traps installed prior to final acceptance. Bare, unvegetated areas within the right-of-way could be seeded to establish grass. And that's from the town planner, the planning board recommendation.
Okay. Do any members of the select board have any comments before this gentleman speaks? Nothing? Please state your name and welcome.
My name is Bob Kerrig. I represent Twin Pines Realty Trust. A few of the items have been addressed last week. The traps were put into the catch basins. Catch basins were cleaned on Friday. The stop sign was they don't know where they got that from. So, and the asphalt was tested when it was installed. So the issues that were brought up had been resolved. Other than the grass, which I can't grow grass until it's a little bit warmer. And we'll hit that probably in the coming month.
Hold on a minute. Val, do you have, doing okay with the technology that we're on? Good,
I
okay.
don't know what that is, but
Okay.
I don't know where that's going from. Probably quiet.
Okay, so Ms. Carey, you're requesting approval of this based on the fact that these things have been remedied.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the committee? And Jim, do you have any comments on that?
So this will go to town meeting, vote to accept the street or not accept it at town meeting. Tonight's meeting is a public meeting, and the board has to accept the layout of Rita Lane Extension, and then we file that layout with the town clerk, and then it'll be on town meeting for formal vote by the participants at town meeting. So right now, you're just essentially approving the layout, the description of the layout as shown on the plan.
So we're sort of preparing for town meeting in this motion. Select board members, Danny?
So Rita Lane Extension, did same owners
to Rita Lane also?
I don't believe so. I don't know. Yes, they did.
Yes.
Okay. So at that time, White Oak Run should have been accepted, so I hope in all this, we're getting that all wrapped up for town meeting too, so that White Oak Run gets accepted at the same time as the extension.
It won't get accepted this year. We gotta go through, you're looking at about probably $30,000 worth of survey work. It's half in Dartmouth, half in Westport, so probably next year, if there's funding available to get the layout drawn up, it could get accepted.
So are we able to accept the extension without White Oak Run being accepted?
It's interesting, right? It's been a way that's been used by the public and maintained by the public for years. The town of Dartmouth, I don't know if Westport or Dartmouth paid for the paving, but they've both maintained that road over the years. There's probably a few roads in town that have never been formally accepted, but have been in use for a significant amount of time.
But I think Rita Lane was accepted in error because White Oak Run wasn't accepted, right? So can we legally accept the next one off the road that was?
I could check with town council. I think you can accept anything, whether it's the right
That's all
thing to
we
do,
do, as
yeah.
long as we check with town council?
I can check with town council.
Any further questions from the select
I
board?
have a question. So I see in the town administrator recommendation, there's a motion to accept and add to the warrant, but I already see that it's already Article 42 on the warrant, or is this a different article?
This same article, it's just formalizes it.
So this isn't asking to put it on the warrant, it's already on, well, so in the warrant article draft that I have, version 8, it says, accept as layout of public way of Rita Lane, and this one says Rita Lane Extension.
It should be relaying extension.
So so it still is the same Article 42 that's on the warrant.
That's correct.
So then we don't really need to add it to the warrant, right? So is the request here to ask us to recommend it at the town
The
meeting?
request is to accept the layout. the
Oh, to
actual
accept the layout,
descrip-
okay.
Description of the layout.
Okay, all right, then I move that we accept the layout of Rita Lane Extension and, I don't know,
It's
but
already
it,
on the warrant, so I think.
and
we're
it's already on there. So I move that we accept the layout of the Rita Lane Extension as described.
Second, we're gonna see if there's any public input.
We are. Motion made and accepted. Any discussion on the motion before we have public input? Anybody like to speak further, Mr. Carrick or others? This is a public hearing. We welcome comments. Those who wish to speak, okay, the format would be to go to the microphone and identify yourself.
Hi, good evening. Gabriella Scamperino. I own one of the lovely houses on Rita Lane Extension. On my property, I do have a water retention section to it, and I'm just wanted to follow up with the council that I was told when I purchased the property that once the street turned over to the town, that the town would also maintain it. And I just want to verify if that is correct.
Jim, could you respond to that?
So once it's accepted, the town would have the ability to maintain it.
Yes.
Like most communities, we're pretty strapped for resources, so the maintenance is minimal,
Yeah.
if at all.
Mhm.
But yes, we would have the ability to maintain it, but normally a lot of the residents that abut it kind of keep it neat.
Right, which we do. So my next question is, I do plan on putting a fence up with appropriate gating, so if the town needed access to it, they could certainly get access to it. Is that also correct, what we were told?
I would suggest if it gets accepted to run it down by the highway department, just to make sure they have
Okay.
adequate access to get in there if they have to.
Okay, perfect. All right, that was my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question on it too. Maybe Bob can answer this. Bob, the drainage out there, do you got storm scepters? They have
No.
them, there's no storm scepters? Okay. No, I just had heard that there was storms, because we don't have the ability to maintain them, so, okay.
Hi, Tim McDermott, 50 Rita Lane. You said that there will be another meeting, this is for the layout for the road, and there'll be another meeting to actually accept the road by the
Town-
town council?
Town meeting,
So when would that be,
May
potentially?
7th?
May 9th, I think.
May 9th,
Let's check.
at the
So that
town
would
meeting.
be brought up at that meeting?
Yeah.
May
Well, that's when
7th,
it
May
gets-
7th, May
That's when
7th.
it gets accepted if everything goes well. So
Okay.
it would be a good meeting to be at.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Any questions from the public? Again, this is a public hearing. Any further discussion from the select board? The motion has been made and seconded. What is the pleasure of the committee? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for those who commented.
Here's Weatherford.
Next item is a request from Verizon New England and Eversource to install 5 jointly owned poles along the southwest side of Highland Avenue in front of 182, 308, 372, and 390 Highland Avenue, and one just north of 398 Highland Avenue. Jim, what is the background here for us? Do we think
Someone
we've
from
represented-
Verizon or from Eversource is here?
Yeah, we do.
Explain the process.
Good evening, Tom Stanton, Pike Electric, Verizon contractor. This is to support the solar farm on Highland Ave. There's sections of the poles that, there's 3 sections that are over 200 feet and 2 sections that are about 190. And to support the new Eversource cabling, they'd like those 5 poles set so the spans are under 200 feet.
Questions from the committee?
No, I move approval of the request.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. First discussion from the select board, if any. If not any, this is a public hearing, so is there anybody from the public who wishes to make a comment, or a statement, or a question?
Question.
Get a good mic.
Go right ahead.
So Adam Branco, 364 Highland Avenue. So they have the pole marked in my property, and it's in the middle of my lawn. I was wondering if they could slide it over, if they were able to slide it over. And also, I have an irrigation system in my lawn, too. So that's my question.
Okay. Mr. Stanton, could you respond to that on our behalf?
Yeah, is that the stake location?
Yes.
I looked at that. They try to keep it, split the difference.
Yep.
So I could move it a little bit, but I mean, I'm not gonna, I saw that, and it is right in the middle of your property. But to scooch it over 5 or 10 feet either side isn't gonna,
Yeah.
It would help me if you did that.
Like in with a mulch bed, then it wouldn't affect our irrigation.
Yeah, if you slid over 5 feet to the left, that'd be fine.
5 feet to the left.
Something like that, yeah.
And-
That's exactly.
I have,
Because
Can
I
you tell
already
us
have
which
a
pole this
pole.
is?
I have a pole in my yard already, that's 8
Yes,
feet.
it's on the, it's on the,
That's a little ridiculous to me.
yeah, it's,
Didn't you say it was
I hear you, but
so it
You know,
doesn't
this-
actually show it where they put the stick isn't actually where they show it on here. Isn't that our property line? So that would work, but where they're putting it is like right on
what's your address, ma'am?
364 Highland Ave Westport.
364.
I know it's not on the front page, but
Yeah,
the
it's
pole is
on
up
this
my
one.
yard.
So, Mr. Chair, I don't see 364. I don't see a pole in our map for 364.
Yeah, it's there.
We got 182. Can they come up with
No, I don't see.
Can you show us
364.
on the map because
don't
it's not
see.
on our map that we
Yeah,
have?
we got one.
It's
Yeah, you
right,
see it right, you read my address on the.
so it's the one
Three,
that
yeah.
is, so
You
here.
know what the whole-
Yeah.
So where they show it here on the map, it doesn't show that, but where they put the stick in our yard, it's like right here.
It's the one you keep on mistaking my yard.
But if it was to go on in the middle where the mulch bed is that splits our property, it wouldn't be an issue with our irrigation. But where they came and placed it, it's like right here.
Oh, so we're just concerned about the map versus the stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the state
And
doesn't
when we
represent the
measured it
same as the
out,
map.
Stake doesn't show,
Yeah.
and it's not, we're at,
Map, not something
we're voting on
else.
372, and they're,
Yeah, we're at 364.
You measured off of 372 and ended up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's come back here. I asked Mr. Stanton to respond. Is the response suitable?
If you can slide over with it, yeah, I'll.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, does that meet your approval?
Are you leaving now?
Yeah.
I'll meet you out there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have to act on this, so we have to have some assurance that this deviation is going to be
So
acceptable.
if I move it no more than 10 feet, you'll be happy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll meet him out there. I'll go with them.
Did we make a motion on this?
No.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, did we? I was gonna say if we can just make it subject to the town administrator getting getting a call from the neighbors that it met their expectation, given 24 hours.
Okay, I will amend the motion subject to this change.
To include the
To the
response to the town
agreement.
administrator that's met their approval.
Yes.
Thank you, I second that. I amend my second to include that.
I do just want to say, I hope that you'll avoid the irrigation system, but if your irrigation is in the town roadway, that might not be possible. So I don't know, I haven't got it staked out, but, I mean, try to avoid the irrigation.
When we
but I-
dig safe, we don't dig safe
Yeah,
irrigation,
Yeah.
because the town has,
Also, yeah,
the town has a town take. If you want to mark it out,
yeah, okay, I know, yeah.
you know,
Oh,
I'll meet you out there, we'll get it all straight.
Okay,
State your
well,
name and number.
mine,
Yes, please.
Jennifer Branco, and Adam Branco, my husband. And you want our phone number?
Yes, please.
774-930-1694.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll
thank you.
follow up with you tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
right, coming back to the motion,
If it's
further
approved.
discussion on the Board of Selectmen. Preferably we'd all, not all talk at the same time. What is the pleasure of the committee
I
on
think
this?
we made the motion, we just amended it, so we're
Well, I know that, I'm asking for further comment.
good.
Any comments, It's a public hearing, any further comments from the public? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, the motion carries unanimously, thank you, and appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item under public hearings is a request from Austin Russell of Hilltop Motors and Equipment for a Class II motor vehicle license at 61 Hicks Bridge Road with a total of 10 cars. Jim?
We had a request for a used car license. This would be on the southeast corner of Hicks Bridge and Route 88. The plans have been reviewed by the building inspector, and he has approved them, and that's it.
Comments from the select board? Manny?
So there's no changes at all to the building whatsoever? Just,
There were none that were presented on the plan.
How you doing? I'm
Hold on
Austin
just a
Russell.
second, please,
All right.
He's the petitioner.
I understand that.
Okay.
Manny has a question for Mr. Hartnett. I didn't get what the answer was, or if you're
I'm not
able to
aware of
answer.
any changes. There were none shown on the plans that were submitted.
Okay, that satisfies you. Okay. Any further discussion from the select board?
We usually get a layout. We don't have one on this one? Oh, I didn't see it in the.
There was a layout with the package.
We'll have public comment in just a moment. I just want to get straightened out here as to what we're doing. So we didn't have that in our packet?
I didn't see it. Let's try this way. So we signed off the fire, gravel.
Okay, and feel free to speak, whoever was looking to speak.
Is there a question?
just looking at it now, it's the first time I've seen it, so.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Could you just describe the business? Is there a business there now, or is this a new organization?
Okay, I'm Rob Russell. I'm representing the partnership landlord, which is RJR Properties. And there was a business in there. It was Whipple Tree Service, who are moving to, I believe, Portsmouth. And so Austin, one of my sons, is going to be leasing part of that building. And he's applying for, as you see it, Class 2 dealer license.
Jim, do you know who owns the property to the left?
I don't, offhand, no.
I move approval of the request as stated.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there a question here that you wish Mr. Russell to respond to? Or discussion? Seems to be a
Yeah, no,
pause here.
I
The
just
action.
need to, I can approve it, I just want to know who the property is on the left, and I got a couple more questions.
So is this the one downhill?
Well, I'm looking,
A lot of space.
I'm looking
between
at,
that building
like,
and
towards, I imagine that's 88, right?
So towards 88, they own right up to 88.
So they're
They're
abutting.
about 88, yep, on the other side, it's Kendall Tripp.
So these parking areas, like, it looks like you got trees in the parking areas?
May I approach?
Yes. Brush or something like that, right?
Where's this?
Like right here?
Yeah, there's no, it's just shadows. That's clear.
So that's all?
That's clear, yeah.
Okay, so you're not gonna cut any
There's no
trees,
clearing.
nothing, it's gonna stay exactly the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you wish to speak? I know you were approaching the microphone before.
Oh, I was answering a question about the work done on the building, but I think you guys already took care of
Okay.
that.
Okay. Mr. Russell, you have further comments for us?
No,
Well, we could have, what kind of work's gonna be done on the building?
Oh, I thought you guys were asking what work was done to the building. They just did some office work, and then it was inspected by the town.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion from select board members? Hearing none, any further comments from the public? This is a public hearing. Okay, it looks like we're ready to vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you later.
Okay, that concludes the public hearing section of this meeting this evening. The next item is 2, and it's one item under licenses and permits. There's a request from La France Hospitality Corporation, doing business as Hampton Inn, to approve the change of manager on their wine and malt license to Evan Poitras. Jim, any comments here?
Pretty straightforward. We do have a police report. They are not opposed to the transfer of manager license to Mr. Poitras. It's a pretty straightforward transfer.
Okay. Is there anybody from the
Right there.
firm to, do you wish to speak, sir?
Sure.
I'm Sean LaFrance. I live at 36 Amy's Way. The Hampton, we had our long-term general manager retire recently. We have a new manager, Evan Poitras, so we want to take off Frank Lim's name and add Evan's name to the license. And
Okay,
then we applied, I think, through the ABCC as well.
it's pretty clear. What is the feeling of the committee, and what is?
I move approval of the request.
I'll second. You second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further comments? Any questions for Mr. Russell? Mr. LaFrance? Sorry. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Still not good.
3, the appointments and resignations. A is a request from Irene Buck of the Council on Aging to appoint David Lalima to the unexpired term ending June 30th, 2025, and Carol Vidal to the unexpired term ending June 30th, 2024. Jim, comments from you first, and then we'll ask Ms. Buck to speak if she
We
wishes.
have 2 vacant positions on this committee, on the Council on Aging, and they would be filling the unexpired terms.
Okay. Ms. Buck, do you wish to make any comments for us this evening, or you don't have to, but if you want to?
Thank you. I think the candidates speak for themselves. 2 very experienced, very committed volunteers. We're very fortunate, and so I hope you will support their nominations.
I move approval of the appointments.
Okay, it's just that we need to be clear that these are 2 separate, different dates, because they were unexpired terms. That's the reason why they're not the same.
And our hope is that the shortest term will continue into the next year. It's just a matter of, there's a little small window right now, so that's,
Yeah,
we're not looking to add someone for just that limited amount of time.
all right. Yeah, that was understood, and we'll be back here very soon to do that, I will assume. So the pleasure of the committee, the motion has been made and seconded?
Yep.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Appreciate it. The next is 3B, the request to appoint one of the following nominees to the Board of Registrars for the 3-year term effective April 2nd, 2024. The 4 people who are candidates would be Robert Alves, designated Republican, John Cabral, Republican, Catherine Caton, Democrat, also incumbent, and Paul Trial, Republican. Jim, could you give us the background on this? This is one that was postponed from the last meeting, if we recall.
So there are 4 members on this committee. There's a town clerk who is unenrolled, and then there's currently 1 Democrat and 1 Republican on the committee. So the board can appoint either a Republican or a Democrat to this committee.
Do we have any of the candidates present tonight? And do they wish to speak? If you'd wish to speak, we'd be glad to hear you. If not, that's okay too.
I'm Catherine Caton. I'm currently at the registrar. I got appointed last year. I really like it. I would like to continue on if the board sees fit.
Thank you. Any other people who are contestants for this?
I move the appointment of Catherine Caton.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Appreciate the work you do for registrars. Thank you. C, 3C. Request to accept the resignation of Peter McGar from the Board of Assessors effective March 18th, 2024, and to post the vacancy. Jim, a little background on this select board?
This is a current assessor member who is resigning from the board. It's an elected position, so we normally, or the board normally, posts it for about 30 days to see if anybody's interested. And at that time, if somebody is interested, there would be a joint meeting between the Board of Assessors and the Select Board to appoint someone to fill the vacant term until next April's election.
Okay, so this is an interim move until the, as you mentioned, it was an elected position, so it'll be the next go-around for that.
Yep, the year April.
Motion to accept with regrets, send a letter.
Second.
Do what we need to do.
Okay, motion made
Post it.
and seconded, and further discussion on this, if any? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. D is the request from the Westport Board of Library Trustees to appoint Assistant Library Director Bonnie Strable to the position of Interim Library Director, effective March 30th, 2024, and a commensurate increase in her rate of pay to that of the current Library Director until such time as a permanent Library Director is appointed. Jim?
So George Ripley is taking another position in another community, and he's leaving the end of March. This would be an interim position until they can advertise and locate a new person to fill his position. I'd recommend approval.
Okay, is there anybody here from the library? No, okay. What is the pleasure of the committee?
I'll move that we appoint as described.
Awesome.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Jim, so this is a temporary move here, correct?
Yes.
And so the rate of increase obviously is also temporary, and
It would be
we revert back to
temporary.
the existing salary, okay. All right, that's clear. Further discussion, comments on this motion, which was made and seconded? Hearing none, as soon as it's time to vote, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries again, Paula, unanimously. Thank you. E, again from Ms. Buck, request from Irene Buck, Chair of the Cable Advisory Committee, to appoint Carrie Cunha to the board. Jim, a little background on this, and then we'll...
So at this point, we don't have an open position, but we may shortly, so I'd suggest that the board, I guess, pass over this request until there is a change in the vacancy on the board.
Okay. Ms. Buck, do you have any comments in this regard? And does that meet your understanding?
We're very pleased that we have someone who is very interested, and so I'm hoping that with the support of Steve Willett will be able to adjust the number of voting members, I would like to ask that the board look at the terms. The terms for cable advisory is 1 year. That's a very short time for someone to learn what's involved. And so I don't know where it fits in your extraordinarily busy agenda, but along with making sure we have enough people to be involved and to help, we need to give them enough time to get acquainted with what's going on. But the process of having an opening, I'm hoping, will take place soon. And I think that as soon as you're able to appoint this candidate, we'd all be very fortunate to have her with us. I'd also like to mention that cable will be providing video the night of elections. We haven't worked out details, but I know it's a very, very, very exciting time for our town. So make sure that you're paying attention, whether you're here or at home watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, so I offered to, if the board wanted me to stay on as ex officio, so we'd have a new, we always want to see some new blood go on boards, and we're glad people are stepping up. So I don't know if Jim wants to give us something next meeting with a breakdown of the board, especially if it's only a week away. The cable advisory board, so everybody's aware of what the situation would be, but I don't mind going ex officio for somebody that wants to step up.
Well, what do you mean? I know what ex officio means.
I'd stay on, but the new person would be a voting member. I would just stay on for advisement, be a liaison, come back to the board, et cetera, et cetera. It's not, the contract's what, 10 years that we just signed, so there's nothing pertinent for a few years anyways. They're gonna dig into cable issues and try to do upgrades and whatnot. So the critical work was just done, thanks to Irene and crew.
Okay. So
Chairman Brewer, you set the example for your hard work of coming at 9 in the morning to the Council on Aging meetings. We're only asking Steve come at a 5:30 meeting, but he's still willing to do it, and his experience and history with cable as a committee that oversees and works to support the work of the staff is very important. Well, I'm glad he's willing to stay. I'm delighted that he's willing to make a spot available to an active, committed volunteer.
Thank you, Ms. Buck. So you're considering resigning from this committee at a future date to make an availability for somebody?
Well, I don't know if it'd be resigning or just knocking me down a notch to ex officio, that's all. Similar to, like she said, you are a COA. It'd be more of a liaison to the select board, answer questions, just like why we have so many committees, to do the legwork to present to the board.
Yeah, Jim, have we employed ex officio status in this town? I'm familiar with that from business, but
I don't know if it's an official title, but I do know we have
And it'd be
members on other.
non-voting. I don't care if you want to call it ex officio or non-voting, I just stay on it.
But you're saying that as the select board representative, right? Not just
I think that's what I'm on as, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly. If not, if I'm just at large, it makes it easier. I can
So if it's a
resign.
select board rep, we'd have to look,
When I
see
made
if
the
that's in the
committee,
town bylaw or not.
yeah, I'm the one that formed the committee years ago, was to do the cable, and we did have several groups, but it may have changed through the years, I'm not sure.
well, we don't have to resolve that tonight. So
Yeah.
we can look into that.
It's just an option if the
clean
board
it up
wishes to
and-
choose it.
Yeah, whatever it's called, it's fine
Sure.
with me. Okay, so that concludes discussion on that item. So we won't be doing this tonight as requested, and that's understood for the reasons stated. Anything further, Ms. Buck?
I'm not clear, I'm sorry. Are you going to be able to vote on it tonight?
No.
No, next week?
Well, first of all, I don't know where you get the next week. There's no meeting next week. There's 2 weeks. On April 7th, the night before the elections, our next
Great,
meeting.
that's what I want to know. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, but we're not voting this tonight because it presently is not a vacancy.
Exactly, okay.
Until this gentleman decides to
I'll
take
talk with Jim.
further
tomorrow,
action.
Figure it out, email, whatever.
I don't think you'll find a lot of opposition to this, I'm just saying.
As long
She
as
doesn't
I
wanna-
have a great hope that this will happen, I'm delighted.
She doesn't
Thank you.
want to lose an excited volunteer, and I don't blame her.
And we'd be glad to support that, I'm sure. Speaking only for myself. Thank you. Okay, so that concludes our discussion on that item. Next is a request from Jeremy Hardy to be appointed for the 3-year term as constable. Jim?
Yeah, we had a request, we don't get many of these, but it is an appointment that the Board of Selectmen does make. He has his constable bond, his paperwork appears to be in order. I'd recommend approval.
Mr. Chair, is he here?
Is there?
I was going to ask that if you'd let me.
I'm sorry.
Ask this, what was the pleasure of the committee, but I guess.
went through the chair.
We have multiple chairs here, by the way, folks. Have you noticed? Mr. Hardy. please.
Jeremy Hardy.
Nice to meet you.
Mr. Chair, the reason why I asked is because this is an important position where obviously they have to serve papers at people's houses. And we've had problems in the past where a tire wasn't correct, they didn't present themselves professionally. So I would just say that that would be a concern in the future. Showing up in farmer jeans with no shirt underneath wouldn't be acceptable.
Absolutely
It's
not.
happened, believe me. So, we expect, obviously, professional behavior, okay? That was my concern. We've also had a few yahoos that want to put on lights and run around towns like they're a cop, so, okay?
I work in real estate, and I'm just trying to make myself more useful to the brokerage I work with.
I just want to make you aware it would be a concern if any of those things happen.
Understood.
All right? Thank you.
Do you have anything further to say, Mr. Hardy? Glad to have you come forth.
If this is approved today, I'm just curious what my next, what I need to do next.
Jim will tell you.
That's a good question. I know we'll follow up with you. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
Yes, do a bond.
I already have
Has
a
a
bond.
bond.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Would there be a swearing in?
You can check in tomorrow and we'll fill you in with whatever needs to be done.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll move to Hardy.
Thank you,
second.
Mr. Hardy. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Hardy.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming forth in this very important position in our town. Okay, moving along, we're now in the group of items under action items. So the first is a request from the town clerk, Kristen Stinson, to approve the warrant for the annual town election to be held April 9th, 2024. We do have that in our package. I think you've all seen it. Let me just get that, pull it up. Jim, is there anything here that we should take note of? It looks to me like it's correct. I know last time we had one of these, we had the old location for Precinct A. This has been corrected to Our Lady of Grace Church Hall, 5569 Sanford Road. I assume that's correct. The others look correct to me, but I won't be sure on this.
I'd recommend approval. This is pretty standard for most of the elections, or required for all the elections, I guess.
Then what is the pleasure of the committee?
So,
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None?
Just a reminder to the public, then, April 9, the polls are open from 10 to 8. This is the one where they don't open early, so 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes, and that is specified on this warrant right here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's coming quickly. All right, that concludes that item. Pause just for a second, I want to sign this. Okay. Now, B is the request to approve the Westport River Watershed Spring Summer Activities. I'll read them, then we can have discussion, and then we'll have Deb here. Request to approve the Westport River Watershed Spring Summer Activities, and they are listed as follows. April 3rd, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Climate Change Beach Program at Cherry and Webb. April 11th and 12th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., 5th grade field study at Cherry and Webb Beach Dunes. April 27th from 9 to 12, Electronics Recycling Day behind Town Hall. May 29th, 31st, and June 4th, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 4th grade field study at Emmetrick Landing. June 8th, the Dune Hike at Cherry and Webb. River Day, which is June 22nd. That was corrected because it listed that as the rain date, but that is the date. 22nd. June 24th would be, it looks like June 24th through August 16th. Summer Watershed Discovery Programs at Westport Family Beach. And that's the listings. Jim, do you have anything to say, or Deb can
I do not.
talk about it? Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, no, thank you all for indulging us in these many ways. We're very excited about all our activities. We've hired our summer interns, and we've got the electronics recycling all set up, so we're good to go.
Any questions, Deb?
No, I'll move it. Most of it's off-peak, so it shouldn't affect any parking situations.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just would like to say I'm just really excited about all the work that you do, especially the programming that you have with the children and the family activities. I really appreciate the Watershed Alliance having all these activities.
And I just want to mention that we have 10 scholarships open for children in the watershed, which is larger than just Westport, for any child who is on free and reduced lunch, and we're getting a lot of applications, so that's exciting.
Very good. Great. Thank you, Deb. Good to see you. Did you have a hand up, Mr. General? Oh, okay. All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Thanks again. C, request from Dharma Voyage to purchase 4 Hicksbridge landing passes. Jim?
This is done on a yearly basis. They have a program down there at the town landing on Hicks Bridge. Wendy is here, can probably give you more details than myself. So.
Please.
Wendy Henderson, one of the directors of the Dharma Voyage rowing group. We're asking, as we did last year, if we could purchase 4 tickets for some of our out-of-town rowers that aren't able to buy Westport Hicksbridge landing passes. And so it's sort of the same program as last year. Just if we have those passes, the members can pick them up, and so 4 people can park at a time. And we usually row in the mornings from 6:30 to 9:30 or so. So it's pretty much off-peak hours. Saturday mornings, we tend to get in before the real crowd of recreational boaters come down to the landing.
Well, thank you for that explanation. What's the pleasure of the committee?
I just got a couple of questions. I mean, how many rowers usually go down there?
We have 20 seats, 20 rowers, 24 seats available at any one time in a boat.
And how many landing permits do they have?
Well, most of our members are Westport residents, so
Okay, so
most of them have.
So that means we have 20 vehicles down there at the same time, all the time.
Yep, we could.
I wouldn't be in favor of this, but.
Other comments?
I move approval of the permits.
I second.
So,
Motion made and seconded. I'm not sure who seconded it. I think Dan, you seconded.
no, I did.
I second.
I'd just like to add, I have the same concern as Mr. Soers in the years, but they've done a really good job, and I have been proven wrong, if you will, in the past, so we hope we keep it that way, Wendy. You know,
We try. If we know it's a busy time there, we'll have our rowers double park so that they're one behind the other, so they're not
Tuck 'em
taking up
tight in the
a lot of space. Yeah, and up the
That
road.
has been
and-
the situation from when I've been there.
We got to, as you know, you're working on the design over there. I mean, when the thing gets redone, I'm sure it's going to be a lot better, but I've had some personal experiences with my son's been launching a skiff there quite regularly, and I went down a couple of times with him. So one of the other things, and I've had other complaints coming to me, is the porta-john down there. I don't know if you guys have been rowing out there all year last year, you know what the situation was, and if you could just let people know, because a few people have made complaints, and I've recently made a complaint on that, but
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of town people have issues with getting in with so the only reason I would be against the out-of-town people, I mean, it is a town ramp for town stickers. I mean, we have a state ramp in town that anybody can pay and use. I just think if you have so many in-town rowers and everybody's bringing their own vehicle, maybe they could just bring the out-of-town guys.
Yeah, we have advocated for carpooling in the past, and we do have a few that can carpool, but it's kind of hard when schedules are, we do 2 rowing sessions for an hour and a quarter each, so there's sometimes an overlap where the next group is coming in while the first group is leaving. That's where we get in trouble with the double parking too, but
What is
working on it.
Dharma Voyage's actual physical address?
Box 1 and 104, Old County Road, Norquochoke Station, and 104, Westport.
That's a street address?
No, that's our P.O. box. Our actual street address is the Watershed Alliance.
Okay, Sean, you have a question?
No,
Oh, Ann.
I just have a statement. You can't park a car at the state landing without things on the top of it or a trailer on the back, because you get a ticket. I've gotten one before. So
Okay.
that wouldn't help them. is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I'm just speaking of the residents that are trying to park there, that's all.
Okay, well, I support this. It's never been a problem. It's early in the morning. If it gets to be a problem, we'll be talking about it.
And we're here for that. I would like personally to hear any complaints that you hear. I would like to hear them also. So I forward them on to the rowers and say, this is why we've got to do this, guys.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So a motion has been made and seconded. Did I see a hand go up? Did somebody else wish to speak? No. Okay, I'm sorry. Any further discussion from select board members? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Any opposed? None, the motion carries.
No.
No, you said nay.
I'm sorry, you said nay?
Still carries.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, thank you.
Motion carries anyway.
As a landing commissioner, can I just bring up one quick thing? We had our first hearing, our hearing for the landing renovations at Hicks Ridge Landing I'm speaking of now. And one of the comments was from the Masons, and I know you're in negotiations with them at this point, but they're very concerned with the last few rainstorms we've had, sometimes of 2 to up 3.5 inches we've had. There's been a lot of erosion at the top of the exit ramp, which is actually on Mason's property. And if the town could get there and just fill that in once again, they've done it many, many times over the years. It's a pretty deep, probably a little over a foot in some places, ravine there that it's difficult getting out of there anyway with the curve coming around the Mason's property there. But just wanted to bring that up because they mentioned liability, and I think the town should be aware of that.
Well, thank you. Well, this is not a posted item, so we can't take action on it. We'll take that as informational to Mr. Hartnett. That will be the end of that discussion.
Okay, thank you.
I'd make a little quick one. No, thank you for that, Wendy, because I believe it was the planning board that the plans come in before, and that was some of the questions on why, the plan is a good stormwater management plan.
Yeah.
It would solve all the problems that we have over there, so thank you for those.
Yeah, thank you. I think that it'll be a much better situation if we can get that built. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is a request from Chief Dan Baldwin to pursue the Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, so-called SAFER grant. Chief is here. Do you have anything to say in an introductory way before Dan speaks?
I just asked the chief to attend to kind of give the board an update. There's a lot of work that goes into this SAFER grant, and just to get some assurances that one way or the other, that if they do get the grant, that the board would be okay with the hiring of staff for 3 years, and then after the grant is done, whether or not we can keep those people on and include those in our operating budget will be a challenge.
Okay, I'm sure the chief knows that, but Dan, come forth and...
Yeah, I can speak briefly on it. As you said, it's a SAFER grant. The goal is to provide adequate staffing 24 hours a day. Our goal, which for the last 20 years has been to have 4 6-person shifts staffed with 6 full-time firefighter paramedics. We currently only have 1 shift operating at 6. The remaining 3 operate at 5. As I said before, we've been trying to pursue 4 6-person shifts for almost 20 years. We've applied for the SAFER grant numerous times, probably close to 15 years. We received it in 2012, which at that time held off a couple layoffs. I was not involved in the writing of it at that time. It's extremely competitive, very hard to get. They're anticipating $360 million to be made available, 300 awards nationally. So you do the math, it's very hard. There was a 3-year period of performance. The awards would be announced sometime between July and September. Once the award is announced, if we were fortunate to get it, there's a 6-month recruitment period, and then 3 years of performance. It is a no-cost match, so there's no cost to the town during that 3 years. And in theory, it would buy us about 4 years to figure out how to retain those positions. Looking further down the road, we are looking at about 3 retirements in 2027, 2028. So if we were not able to maintain the positions, well, unfortunately, we would take a major step backwards. But I think if we were fortunate enough to get it, and I've already begun to do the work because there is a tremendous amount of work, and I honestly couldn't wait for the approval. I just got going. It would buy us some time, and also my hope is that during that 3-year time period, we'll be able to put together some statistics and studies that show the town why it is so vital. And that's all I'll say. The premise is SAFER fire department, SAFER staffing, and SAFER community. So I'd ask for your support and allowing me to continue writing and submitting the grant, which is due on April 8th.
Any questions for the chief? And appreciate that conversation about what do you do in the future, but it sounds like you've already planned ahead and will handle that appropriately. So what is the pleasure of the committee?
What is the action they're asking for?
We have to approve, do we have to, Alexis of the town administrator, are we approving the pursuit or this, the chief
If
need
there
our?
is an action to be taken, that would be the action, yes.
Okay.
So I move that we direct Chief Baldwin to pursue the grant as described.
Second.
A motion made and seconded. May I just ask, is that motion appropriate to what you're looking for? Okay. Further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. The next item is E, request from the Watershed Alliance for the Select Board to co-sponsor an information session regarding the Route 6 water sewer project and the ballot question to be held on April 6th. This to be held on April 6th, 2024, from 1 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the library. So it's a motion, this came through me, by the way, when I forwarded it to Jim, is to co-sponsor the information session. Jim, do you want to expound further?
I don't have much. I mean, this is a request from, obviously, from what it says, the Watershed Alliance. They're looking to hold an information session at the library from 1 to 4 on April, what did I just ask?
April 6th.
April 6th, I'm sorry. And they're asking the board to.
It's Cowley. She left us? She didn't stick around?
No,
Debbie?
She left.
I know
No, she's
members
not
of the
here.
IOC committee are attending.
Well, the request was made to your question, Mr. Willett. It came from Wendy Nicholas, who represents the Watershed Alliance, but it was also the Watershed Alliance and the Buzzards Bay Coalition. Was there a third entity
There was a
that
third.
was being requested on behalf of several
The
entities?
IOC was in it.
Yeah, that's right, okay. I thought there were 3. So that's the request. It's simply for us to be a co-sponsor. I don't know what the responsibilities are with that, quite frankly. You have to pay for it, provide donuts or whatever? No?
Could I ask the chair of the Information Oversight Committee if their committee is involved in this?
I just sent it out to see who could attend. Manny's attending, I'm attending, Maureen May, the rest of the committee hasn't got back to me yet, to see if we're gonna go. I'm even limited, because I gotta do, I've got a function I gotta be do at night, and I'm doing the cow pickup. That's
the
cow
clean
day
hours
too,
part,
so it's
yeah.
a very busy day, April 6th. But yeah, we'll be there for a little bit to at least answer questions and whatnot.
Okay, further discussion? Questions?
So I move that we co-sponsor the event as described. I don't know why I'm making all the motions today.
Well,
Steve.
we're only gonna be there, so I'm sending some fresh blood in. I'll second
I'm
it.
usually the seconder.
Maybe we should take turns with these motions.
I seconded it already.
So the motion is made and seconded. Further discussion?
No, just that we get, obviously, every opportunity to get out to the information would
Yeah.
be better.
Yeah, I'm supporting it for that reason.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously, Paula, thank you. And thank you for that vote. Yeah, we'll get the information out. It's close to the election. It's just a couple of days before that, a few days. Okay. F is a request from the Board of Health to approve the 3-year employment agreement of the Board of Health Director, Matt Armendo, for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. Jim?
So the employment agreement is essentially the same as what it's been over the last 3 years, or maybe even 6 years, but at least the last 3 years. The only difference would be the pay increase would be similar to what the other town employees are getting in 24, 25, and 26.
So, through the chair, so there's no other mods, just the increase, right?
Just the increase, yes.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion?
I'm gonna abstain.
I mean, as far as wishes to abstain. Any further discussion from the remaining? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I also voted aye, so it's 4 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention. And the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Sewers. Okay, thank you for that. Let me just get caught up here. Item G, 4G, is the request from the Board of Health also to approve the 1-year employee agreement for the Board of Health nurse, Linda Pierce, for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Jim?
Yeah, so again, the contract, the agreement, the employee agreement is the same as it's been for the last year, because she does 1-year contracts. I'd recommend approval. The increase is the same as the other town hall employees would be getting.
What is the pleasure of the committee?
Same thing, it's just meeting the rest, right?
Yep.
I'll move it.
No second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? None. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. H, request to sign Amendment 4A with Kleinfelder Northeast for the Gifford Road and Osborne Street final design. Jim, maybe you could listen on that. Anybody else who has comments?
So this was already approved by the select board. This would provide the sewer design for Osborne Street and Gifford Road. Osborne Street to Route 6 and Gifford Road from Route 6 to Osborne Street. So we just received the contract. I'm just asking the board to potentially endorse the contract or to approve and endorse the contract.
Okay, what is
it? For a total of $125,000.
So previously approved, now we're just finalizing this, correct?
Yes.
What is the pleasure of the committee on this item?
Chair.
Yes?
Just a question, Jim. So where do we stand with the whole neighborhood contract?
The whole neighborhood, I've started working on the application for the Bristol County. So that's going in. I'm waiting for the final proposal from Kleinfelder, which I should have this week. So that application to Bristol County should be going in this week.
Okay, did you have a question?
Yeah, are you looking for an action here? We're just signing it, but do you need a motion to approve?
Well, I'd say motion to approve, yes.
I move we approve the contract amendment number 4A.
Second.
A motion made and seconded.
One more question.
Yes, please, yeah, because I have further
Jim,
discussion.
so with that contract, they'll be moving forward with their geotech work? That's in that contract?
With this contract, we did not include geotech work.
Why is that?
We looked at the area, we looked at these, we checked with Board of Health and we asked them on their septic system, perk tests in that area. They did not, and originally we were only going with water, which is only down 4 feet, so there didn't seem to be a need. We could also include in there, in the bid documents when it goes out, items for ledge removal or rock removal, which would offset that. But that's, that's a call somebody can make if you want. We can amend it and include borings.
No, it needs to be amended. That's part of the work. As you see with this stuff right here on Route 6, it was all done. So, I mean, under the mass contingency plan, it needs to be done with the whole design. So you need to see what that extra's going to cost.
I think it was about $28,000.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to add that to the contract.
Is the funds there? Because this isn't part of what we're voting on at town meeting. This is a future project.
Well, this is trying to use the ARPA money that was left over.
So the ARPA funds haven't been approved for the additional $28,000.
I'm opposed to amending my motion, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't have anything that says $28,000 in front of me. So I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I don't know where that is. That in this document somewhere?
It is not. No.
As an amendment. So I'm not comfortable amending something that I can't actually see. But if we want to wait and not move forward with the contract at all, I would be willing to withdraw the motion.
Well,
is there any urgency in doing this?
Yeah, the only urgency is
well,
that we have
time
it
out.
done before June.
I don't want anybody to be out of order here. I was about to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And you'll have a chance, of course. Jim, in terms of this not being included, I get the $28,000 issue, okay, and ARPA and all that. But if we were to move forward with this motion that has been made and seconded, could what's it called, geotech work, whatever it was called, can that be added on later? I mean, is it related to the town meeting and its warrants, its articles? We need
It can be added
clarification.
on any time, right? They're not going to start the design of the sewer if they know they're going to do the geotech work, because they're going to want to see that first. So the board could either amend, I could have the numbers for you next week, if you want to wait a week.
Well,
I think that would be I'd recommend waiting a week. If the thought is to add the borings, we should wait a week.
Well, it'll be 2 weeks, right? We keep talking about
2
next
weeks,
week.
I'm sorry.
2 weeks,
2
right?
weeks, yes.
Did something change around here that I'm not aware of?
2 weeks.
Vanny, do you have comments on that point?
There's not a problem with that. I mean, the only urgency was that we had a signed contract before June, so we didn't lose the ARPA money. So one of the reasons that you need this geotech work is for the environmental assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a PFAS grant that we're going for, so you need an environmental assessment. And that will help us secure funds for this project.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Well, Jim, in your view, is the correct course of action to withdraw the motion if the one who made it and the seconder would do that? Bring it on to April 8th meeting, our next meeting, with an amended contract to include this work?
Yep.
And the source of funding being ARPA, you think?
Yeah, you would have to approve the ARPA funding as well, Bristol County ARPA.
Bristol County. Would that, I don't know if we'd have it approved by then, right? So would that be an impediment? How can we deal with that?
We can deal with it. I can get it approved. The application is there for the 126, so I would have to amend that with Bristol County, which could take a week or two.
So what is, go ahead.
Is that what we're trying to do with the whole design for that neighborhood?
We haven't got that. I don't think the borings are included in that.
Okay, so that we need to look at this whole neighborhood, like we had said originally, and this geotech work will move forward. I mean, if we don't even have a design, the geotech work is more important right now. If we can't afford this, if we can't afford the design, the soil borings and the environmental assessment are actually more important now.
So that didn't include the environmental assessment. If you wanted, that would be separate. I can check with them on that.
I mean, that's a question for our consultant, Kleinfeld, because I believe it's required under all the work. That's why when I was asking about this stuff for Route 6, and nobody seemed to know that, everybody thought it wasn't done, but it was a requirement, and our consultant that we've paid in excess of $1 million did the work you're supposed to do. So it might even be included in that right now, because that's a requirement.
Okay, well, what is the sentiment of the committee as respects withdrawing the motion and then bringing this back in 2 weeks with those clarifications?
I'm happy to withdraw the motion. If we don't think if we think it can wait another 2 weeks, then I'm fine with withdrawing the motion. So I withdraw.
Mr. Chair.
And would the seconder indicate if they, I don't know who made the.
Well, I'd just like a clarification, maybe Jim could clarify, is it easier to do an add-on, or should we just do it as a one piece? Does it matter? I mean, you can get it in the works if we approve
The only
it.
time crunch is the Bristol County ARPA money,
Right,
which I think we can meet that deadline,
Right.
whether we do it 2 weeks from now or tonight, so.
Well, what I'm concerned is, does it make a difference pushing forward the 128, make sure we're locked in, that's all. Because it does make sense to lock in what we can, in my opinion, and then do the add-on. The boring makes sense too, because we want to know where the issues are.
You know what, maybe it would be better to do what we have already, because that's the application I have with Bristol County, and then I can just do a new application for the borings as opposed to amending the application with Bristol County. Bristol County's been getting more
That's my train of thought, to lock
So you're
something in.
thinking lock it in this
Yeah,
and
to
then
lock it in
add
so we
on
got something
later.
before they stop playing games and tell us we're missed a date or something.
That's good.
Well, that makes sense. Then I withdraw my withdrawal.
I didn't second it, so you're good.
Yeah, he didn't, that's right. So if you're withdrawing the withdrawal, then we still have a valid motion on the floor. So, for the benefit of all, including Walt, we're voting on this contract as it's presented, with these other issues to be dealt with for the reasons stated, correct?
Yes.
Further discussion on the motion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or any abstentions? No. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Sir, you used to make a comment?
Yes.
Joey Rio, 13 Gadori Street. So I heard the word septic and I heard the word money. Closest I came to coming here tonight for that reason. I would like to commend the town council for sending a delegation to Washington regarding Westport infrastructure. Myself and my neighbors, thank you very much for doing that. We think it's a great step forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those comments.
I would like to just be clear, this board did not send a delegation. There may have been a representative that went, but it wasn't at the direction of this board. I appreciate that they went.
I was under the assumption that the town council controlled everything. They had the final say. But you're still doing something right.
I think it's good that someone went, yes.
It's
Perfect.
Show us the money, that's right.
It's never been done. It's never been done before, and my neighbors are really happy with what you're doing moving forward, and myself. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that concludes that item. H, Now we move on to I. A request from Sue Drayton to approve insurance updates required for the Affordable Care Act compliance and potential savings for employees in the town or West, I think it means town of Westport, effective fiscal year 2025. Do you have anything to say, Jim, or should Sue just?
Nope. So Sue was here. I'm just,
fire away.
I'm
Good to see
technically
you.
the attorney, I'm not the.
The Affordable Care Act requires the town to offer health insurance that the federal government deems affordable. As a member of Southeastern Mass Health Group, we have an opportunity to present a third plan that is a lower cost plan, however, it has higher deductibles. This would keep the town of Westport compliant with the ACA. So I'm asking that that you approve that plan. It is a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. I'm not sure how well received it will be by the members. I think it's something that might be good for somebody who's young and healthy. I would be, personally, being older, would be a little leery to take a plan with high deductibles.
This item, if I may, was in the package with an explanation, and being formerly in the insurance business, I know a little bit about this, although health insurance was not my forte. But I read, this is the offering, or is it going to be mandatory? That was my first question. I have several questions here.
We have 6 plans technically that we offer. 3 different plans, each has an HMO and a PPO with it. So there's this new plan is the Saver plan. There was a low deductible one, which has a $250 deductible, and one with no deductible. So right now we've been offering 4 plans. The one without the deductible and the one with the $250 deductible, each in HMO format and a PPO format. The Saver plan, the new plan, would be with, also have an HMO and PPO. So right now we're offering 4 plans. We're looking to offer 6 plans.
So it's an off and out. Do all of them, all the 6 offerings, have a higher deductible that is mandatory?
No, only the last 2, the new plans have the higher deductible. The other plans, there is no change to the other plans that we've been offering.
So to be consistent with the Affordable Care Act, these plans have to be offered?
Yes.
Okay. Those are my questions. Do others have questions?
The only,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
just the, I have a super high deductible in ours, but when you have an HSA attached to it, it actually works out pretty well in all
Yeah,
honesty.
we don't have we don't offer an HSA. We don't have the staffing.
Got it.
To offer an HSA. So we haven't offered that. I do have in one of my next proposals is an alternative to that. One of my next proposals is a medical bridge plan. If the employee so chooses, it would be entirely at their cost to take what they call a medical bridge plan, which pays them for their hospitalizations and so forth. For example, if you ended up in the emergency room and your deductible was $200, they may pay you $250. But it does max out at slightly over, or just over the amount, or slightly over the amount that they're required to pay in deductibles for the original plan. So if you don't go, if you don't utilize the hospital, it's gonna end up being more of an expense. But on the other hand, if you do utilize it, you've got something there to cover your deductibles. It's an option. It would only be offered as an option and only to those who take the high deductible plan. They do not have to they can take just the high deductible plan, or they could take the high deductible plan and the medical bridge plan, if they felt more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a better understanding of the cost to the employees, but of course that, I guess, depends on which plan they select.
Right, I wish 60/40. It's roughly 60/40 that we pay, so on the plan. So the cost to the employee, of course, will be less. Whatever plan they select, and this being the lowest cost plan, it would only be 40%. The employee would be responsible for 40% of that plan.
But would that, in that case, would that employee have an increased cost over the prior year?
If they chose that plan and didn't go to the didn't need, there's a lot of people out there, and knock on wood here, thankfully I'm one of them, goes for an annual visit basically once a year, does routine visits, and that's it. So I don't spend, if I had this low-cost plan, I wouldn't be paying anything in the deductibles, so I would save, definitely. If I ended up with something going on medically and needed to be hospitalized or go to the emergency room and so forth, and now had to stop paying deductibles and so forth, I may not make out so well that year.
Yeah, so what is the plan that people have now before these changes?
Before these changes, it's only those other 4 plans, or basically the 2 plans. Majority, I'm going to say 2 plans. We only have a handful of people on the PPO.
Okay.
So it's the other 2 plans, and the majority of them go with the, there's the majority, it's kind of a mix on those, what people choose, whether they choose the one with the $250 deductible or the other plan, but majority of them, I think, choose the higher plan. It's just,
Okay.
it's not a significant difference in it, so, of savings for the employee, so it's just kind of up to the employee. It's what people choose on their plans. It's something we can't tell them what plan to choose. We can't, because we don't know what's going on in their lives, what they have for medical conditions, it's all hinges on each individual, what's in their families and their, dependents and so forth, what is best for them.
So the question I'm asking, and others can speak to, is sort of moot in the sense that people will make their choices. It will compare either favorably or unfavorably to the existing plan. I don't know what the overall cost is, the implicit overall cost to this is. Usually it's like, 5% or 7% these days in general, and then these plans are crafted so individuals can mitigate that cost by going to a high deductible plan. So that's, I think, what's at play here. And you're asking us, are we to approve the plan? It says approve the insurance updates.
Yes, improve the, that we roll this out in July for the employees.
Yeah.
It's just in addition to what they have existing now.
Okay, and you had a question over here?
Just, it says required, so I take it we need to do something.
We should, it can cost us if we don't.
Okay, 1, and 2, is it cost effective for us to have 6 insurance plans for the number of employees we have?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a case of once the deductibles are plugged into their deductions are plugged into the system, it really doesn't matter to us too much.
Oh, okay.
They're all managed to the same company.
So it's just kind of like little sub-plans.
Right.
Okay. That was it.
Further questions?
Yeah, I just want to call it, so you talked about, mostly what you were just talking about is the health insurance plan, but you're also proposing an additional opportunity for voluntary life insurance.
And there are some other plans in here, yes, that are to move forward to after.
And then switching the carrier for the disability insurance.
Yeah.
So, so I guess I just want to make sure we're adding to the offerings available to the employees. We're not subtracting from what's available.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So on the health insurance, we're looking at adding this lower cost, higher deductible plan as an option for them. We're not taking away their existing plans. Then the other one that I mentioned is the medical bridge. Again, that one, I'm looking to offer that as an option to help pay for that higher deductible. It would only be available to the ones that, the employees that choose the high deductible plan. So then moving on, we have a voluntary we have life insurance. Chapter 30B requires that we offer and carry life insurance for our employees if they want it. Most people opt out of it. We do have, we've got quite a few employees that have this plan. It's a $4,000 plan. If they wish to get additional insurance at their own cost, they can. What they're looking to do is have us have an open enrollment for the $4,000 plan. Normally, we offer it, give them a one-time offering. When you're hired, you get it. If you don't take it, then you don't have that option of coming back in. They're asking us to do an open enrollment on the $4,000 plan, which we spend 50-50 with the employee. The other plan insurance, if they want, they can take additional insurance. We have had employees asking for more insurance, some of them higher amounts than what we currently offer. Right now, it's $40,000. $40,000 doesn't go as far as it used to.
Right.
So we have people could qualify for 100, 200. They want to have the option of going up to $500,000 for these people. At a certain point, I believe at 100,000, they would have to medically qualify for the 500, anything over 100,000. But I guess it's guaranteed, I think, the enrollment for 100. So, but that means we would have to open the $4,000 policy, do an open enrollment, making it optional for employees who don't have it now to join. It's a very minimal cost plan. It's $2.38 a month per employee. They anticipate we probably only get 3 to 5 employees that would actually do this. Allowing for 10 employees, it would still cost the town less than $300 for their share of the deductible on that plan, on the $4,000 plan for the year.
The SMHG, Southeastern Mass Health Group, what do we gain by being part of that group? It looks like these plans are the Blue Cross plans, Blue Shield.
The only one, the Southeastern Mass Health Group covers our health insurance, our dental insurance, which is not changing at all, and our eye insurance. That is a group health insurance that we are enrolled with. So those 3 plans, and so they're offering the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan to us. These other plans are offered through another provider that we've been dealing with. We have a couple of different providers that we deal with for insurance purposes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Questions? Further questions?
Mm-hmm. So that's the voluntary, what they call the voluntary and the basic life insurance, the $4,000 in that one. Now, the third, I had mentioned the disability insurance. And as we were discussing this on Friday, it came up that there's something, I believe it's been paid incorrectly. There's something, a clause in the existing contract that I'm not so sure the new carrier can continue with. So therefore, what I'm asking is to skip over that disability. Right now, that's going to take some time to resolve and see if we're not on the same page. The new carrier cannot guarantee that they can carry it as it was before. So it's not a simple switch. So therefore, I'm not going to recommend or ask that you do that, because it's going to be too much of a change for the employee.
So it's less favorable in terms to the employee with the new carrier?
Correct. Okay. So I don't want to, it's right now, I just want to leave it alone and stick with this and see what I can figure out for possibly next year. One thing I neglected to put on here was we have combined life and accident insurance at no cost to the in-town. And they compared rates, and they're looking at switching it from one company to another. Other than that, just because they feel the rates, actually it's more for younger people. Mm-hmm. It's a combined life accident policy. The rates on this new with Colonial versus Boston Mutual are a little bit more favorable to younger people.
Any further questions and discussion?
Nope.
So in summary, what are we approving here? Because some things we're not going to approve, or one thing we're not going to approve.
Right.
So it's, I want to make this more specific. We're approving the insurance plans as outlined. And we're approving the transition to the life insurance. What are we doing? What are we approving?
Approving the transition from one company to another, from Boston Mutual to Colonial on the combined life accident insurance, approving the health insurance, approving the medical bridge insurance, and allowing for an open enrollment on the voluntary, basic life for the voluntary.
And you're withholding that last part?
And the
about-
disability, I'm asking that we take no action on.
Okay.
So, the ones we're adding, that's not an issue.
Right.
Because we're not changing the plans, but if we're changing the plans, we would have to go through the unions too.
So you're asking that we don't, so then the first three, do the deductible, add the extra plan for the health insurance. We can add in the medical bridge and do the open enrollment on the other one. That's just allowing them to purchase additional insurance if they so choose.
Yes.
The fourth one, the last one there, you're saying we cannot do it this time without reviewing it through the union?
Yeah, I would have to run it by the unions.
Okay.
They may be fine with it, but they might not be.
Okay.
So does that prevent action at all on this?
I think the first couple.
The first three, approve the high deductible, low cost, high deductible plan, approve the medical bridge, and approve the open enrollment.
Okay. So those ones we're acting on, you will get input from the unions on the others?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
I'm sorry.
That's correct, or we should
Yes,
just say that?
yes.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. The motion carries unanimously. And we'll just have to be clear on the motion. This says a lot of moving parts.
You got it? Okay.
Okay, Sue, thank you.
Thank
Good work.
you.
Good work. It sounds like it's a better overall deal for
Trying.
employees.
It takes time.
It's a lot of work, thank you.
But do you know offhand what is the overall increase? It's usually a published number, and all of this derives from that. You know,
The health insurance
health insurance, yeah, I'm talking about.
is going up 5.7%
Yeah.
this year.
The actual increase is more closer to 9 or
Actually,
10%,
yes.
but the group there, SMHG, voted to take some money from reserves to reduce the actual increase.
So they took the money from the reserves and the amount went up?
The amount went down, no, it should be up 9, closer to 10%, and now the increase is gonna be 5.7%.
Oh, so it's 5.7 instead of that higher number, gotcha.
Right.
I thought you were saying.
They use the reserves to defer our expenses.
Okay, so there is definitely an advantage to being associated with this.
Yes,
group.
it is. It's been good being in SMHG.
Okay, well, thank you. I think
Okay.
we've done the right thing.
Thank you.
Best I can.
So, thank you.
Excise taxes are due.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, right at tax time, thanks.
April 11th, I believe. And don't forget, May 1st is right behind that for your real estate.
All right.
Thanks for the bad news.
Come again.
Okay. Item J is a request by Manny Soares, Select Board Member, to place an article on the May 7th, 2024 annual town meeting to create an infrastructure department. I'll ask Manny, but first, Jim, any opening comments on this matter? This is what we talked about last time, and then we decided to collect our thoughts, but there's no supporting material, I don't see, right?
I don't have any additional material. Yeah, I think it's something that's needed at some point, but maybe personnel bylaw changes, negotiating with unions, warrant articles. I think there's some work that needs to be done before it's completed.
Manny, do you wish to opine on this?
Yes, well, what I'd like to do is put the request that the select board can put an RFP out to have a consultant set up this infrastructure department.
Okay, let me be clear on this. So are you changing the thought from presented to the town meeting for vote?
Well, I would like to present that we're allowed to hire a consultant to do this, since I'm not gonna be, as a planning board member, select board member, or a member of the infrastructure oversight committee, I'm not gonna be personally setting up this department. I mean, that's not what I'm here for. So I would just wanna have it in position that the select board, it gets voted on town meeting, can authorize, put an RFP out for a consultant to set up this department.
So what would be, in your view, the article at town meeting? What would that entail?
Well, again,
To set up
I'm
a
not
department?
I'm not sure how it needs to be worded, because I'm kind of new at this.
Yeah.
So I would look to direction from my fellow select board members on how I can do this.
Well, speaking for myself, I don't know how to do it. But just to be clear, I understand, like where I can envision a motion at town meeting to set up an infrastructure department. But you're talking about a consultant, so you just for the moment, are you suggesting we just deal with the consultant to study?
Not to study, to do it. We don't need to study it. I mean, he could, it's been done many times before in other towns with similar situations that we're in. So, I mean, a professional at this would be able to set it up.
And this would be for May town meeting, this town meeting.
So it needs
Come on.
money and a source, right? Source for that money, I would think. We can't just hire somebody without a salary.
You're asking me?
That's how we move forward with it, right? That's what he wants. He wants us to move forward with setting money aside in order to set up an infrastructure department. In order to do that, we need the money. So, right? That's all we're looking for at this point. Everything else.
Well, I'm really not clear on that, so, I mean, do you have a clarification?
No,
on that?
I mean, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Right.
It's kind of like when we're doing a study, we went before town meeting, they give the money for the study.
Right.
I mean, otherwise,
Looking
we
for an
just,
infrastructure department study.
just to try to stop from kicking it down the road all continuously.
Well,
We'll get it moving.
You mean the idea of an infrastructure department is being kicked down? I don't recall it ever being discussed.
Yeah, we tried to put forward a DPW before.
Well, that's different.
Same idea, we wanted infrastructure within it, but yeah.
Well, but I mean, that was 5 years ago or something.
I got you.
Yeah. So in other words, we haven't had, this existing board hasn't had discussion about creating an infrastructure department. Right? This is new. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm concerned about, because it's new and it's complicated. There's this question of funding. I mean, it seems this is something we ought not put on an article for town meeting, but certainly after town meeting, have discussion about where we're going to have a new board member or two, what we want to go, do we want to go forward at that time? That would be my recommendation. I'm just giving you my thoughts. Other thoughts?
Makes sense. See what happens with the questions and take it from there. We're gonna form it. We've got to do negotiations with the unions. There's gonna be a lot to it,
So, I'm sorry, would it be a two-part thing, right? One would be what the structure would be, and then the other second would be how we get to that structure, whether you negotiate with unions, whether, who's going to be above who, who's going to be included in that department? Is that?
Seems to be the consultant that we hire to do that, that would be, what we're looking for here is then, where we get the money to do it.
Yep.
Again, what you're proposing is just kicking the can down the road, so we're gonna be in the middle of a project, however big or small it is, and we'll be still trying to figure this out while we're going through it.
Well, yeah, perhaps. I don't really know. I mean, the way where I start is, what are the compelling arguments for having an infrastructure department, not an infrastructure committee, infrastructure department? Now, I think that's a big question and has a lot of parts to it. So I wouldn't be voting in favor of this because I don't know what I'm voting for. I don't know the difficulties, I don't know the timing, I don't know what we accomplished, I don't know what the ultimate cost of the town is. I mean, just a lot of questions, all which can be answered in due course. But to suggest that we put it before this town meeting, whether it's the consultant or the idea itself, I think is premature, and I wouldn't be in favor of that, but others may feel differently. So what is the thinking of the committee on this?
Not this time.
So you suggest that we keep everything the way it is. We are the sewer commissioners, the water commissioners, and Jimmy administers everything that we're doing.
Well, yeah, it would be, I'm not saying we shouldn't get to that issue, and maybe the way we're doing it now is not optimal and it's got to change.
It's definitely not.
And I think I could be
kind of overloading them a little bit.
Well, I think I could be convinced of this with more discussion.
Structure and whatnot.
But it's, and I think maybe the infrastructure department, I can imagine that could be a good thing because of all the projects that we're going to have here, including Route 6. But I'm just not ready for it. And there's a lot of other things that we need to think about for town meeting. So I think it's a short time frame here to be doing something that's a huge undertaking in my view, just my opinion. Other comment? You have a comment?
So yeah, I guess in the short term, over the next couple of weeks, they can take a look and see what's involved, to see if another community has done this recently and get a rough idea what the cost would be. Maybe it's something we can absorb in the existing budget. Maybe there's some ARPA money available to do it.
At least get the structure.
Well, I mean, it's been done many times. And one of the consultants that I put before you to ask as a project manager on one of the other jobs through our emails, worked in a town similar to this. He's offered up a contract for services that I believe we could have this set up very minimally, at a very minimal cost. I can guarantee you it would be a lesser cost than was approved at last town meeting to study another project in town. Now, we didn't use that money, so maybe that money's still left and we can use it to do this. I just feel the time is now. And I mean, if I can't get the support for that, that's fine. But that's all I'm asking.
Okay, understood. Any further comments from the committee?
It seems to me like it would be appropriate for the infrastructure oversight committee to talk about this and kind of do a little bit more work on it. So I'm not opposed to Jim poking around. I too think I might favor it in the future. I just don't have enough information right now. But is that something we should task the infrastructure oversight committee with looking into?
Yeah, we could talk about it.
I like that idea because we're looking for
agenda items for the next thing.
Which we've got one and there's one right here.
Put it together, and we'll discuss it. We can't come like this with nothing in our hands, no idea at all, and say, let's let somebody handle it.
I'm working with the planning board.
Awesome.
I'm working with
Awesome.
Mr. Gendro, and we will, and I'll work with Maury. Through you, I will request that we do have that meeting, because you were requesting that we don't have that meeting.
Correct.
So we have that meeting, and I will request to reach out to the school, see if we can use either school for the meeting, because it's gonna be a very large meeting.
We'll discuss it, but I don't think it's gonna be large at all, but that's fine. We don't have nothing to discuss. We've been putting the committee together.
All right,
We've
so-
already had the questions answered.
Didn't mean to interrupt, but the consensus then is to not proceed, but
Yeah.
look forward, the select board look forward to a future presentation from the infrastructure
Right.
oversight committee,
Yeah.
and we can go from there. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's rational. Okay, so I'm going to assume no action taken, in discussion concluded on this, but I don't want to shut anybody off, so.
Cool.
Okay?
That's right.
Go.
All right, well, with that, but thank you for bringing it forth here. I think the idea
You're welcome.
may be worthy of further study before you, and I hope I'm here to enjoy it.
It might not be.
Okay, the town administrator report. This is what we usually come here for, right?
Apologize, I did not get that out with the agenda, so that came in a little bit late, but just a couple of updates. Robert Street Roundabout, we had a 25% design public hearing with Mass DOT last week on Thursday. I think there were over 60 people that participated in the virtual meeting. So there is a lot of interest in this project. Probably had a dozen people that spoke and sent in questions. I'd say 2/3 were probably opposed out of the dozen people, and maybe a third was in favor. So they had some legitimate questions. I think the main concern was speed, in the overall cost of the project. I will say that this project would be funded through the Transportation Improvement Program, so it wouldn't be locally funded, but it is a $3.3 million project for the roundabout there at Route 177, Tickle Road and Robert Street. So I said, I'm getting the information now. We will post some of that on the website in the next, I said early this week, so hopefully by Wednesday we'll get that up. I'm waiting to get that from the engineer. Stream crossing grant, the Buzzards Bay awarded the town of Westport a $50,000 grant to study a number of cold water stream culverts. These are the culverts or pipes that go under some of the roads here in town. The grant was prepared by Amy Messier in the planning office. And the planning office continues to get us a number of grants, as well as a number of these other departments as well. Rural Development Fund, this is an older grant. We'd received $380,000 to do the final design of phase of the first section of Route 6 sewer. This goes back 2-3 years ago. And they kind of contacted us recently. They wanted to use us as an example of a successful project application. So it's a good thing. So we put it in there. We don't always have good news. National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Permit. We have sewer in Westport now. It services the 2 hotels, White's Restaurant, and a small business across the street there on Route 6. Because of that, we need to be part of this discharge elimination system permit with the city of Fall River. So it'll be Fall River, Tiverton, Freetown, and Westport all combined on the same permit. The majority of the permit and the requirements fall to Fall River, but we are co-applicants, and I just kind of wanted to make, this is the first year I think that they required us to be a co-applicant, so I just wanted to make you aware. I know Paul Furlan in Fall River, who is Department of Public Utilities there, has some concerns with the permit, and he may request a public hearing. So if I get more information, I will pass that along. Vineyard Northeast, I received an email today, and I was not aware of this. Below in your report, it has a description of what was on the website on the dashboard for Vineyard Northeast, and it does say that the Massachusetts OECC, which is, I'm not sure what that is, will travel from the northmost tip of the lease area, so the leasing area out off of the coast here for the wind farms, and they're suggesting that the lease area will be connected to the state through Horseneck Beach. So they're looking to run the cable onto Horseneck Beach. And while it doesn't say here, I'm assuming it's down Route 88. I have not been contacted by them. We had one meeting about 5-6 months ago. The chairman sat in on that meeting. It was kind of an informal introductory meeting where they suggested that might be an alternative as part of their application, but I have not heard anything else on the project until this morning. So.
Okay, comments, questions?
I have a question about that. So, Manny, I'm recalling a meeting a while back where you kind of knew about this project, or you were going to get more information on the project. I was just wondering, did we assign you to be liaison, or did you just volunteer, or like, do you know more about it?
I believe I volunteered and I assigned, but no one has said anything to me.
So you didn't know anything about it either?
This is news to me.
Yeah.
I seen some stuff on Facebook. I do know that I did, when I asked for that, I did hear about that when I was in Fall River in a meeting where the governor was there. They mentioned it. I had spoken to some people from Fall River, and they said that's why I wanted to be involved in it. But
yeah.
I guess nobody came forward. Like Jimmy said, this is just news now.
It's interesting. This is the first time I've seen it. The date on the posting on the website was, I think, October 23rd, so it's been up there for a while. But
you're busy.
I don't think.
And it's April 18. They're having a public meeting.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah, I don't have that here, but
okay.
I will. We can put that up as a news thing on the website.
I had seen different things around, and I know they were talking stuff in Narragansett, Rhode Island, coming up the river. There's been activity in all different.
Yeah, I wasn't
areas.
shocked when I heard it. I just wasn't. I was surprised that I heard it like happening right now.
I think
but I wasn't shocked.
environmentally, it might be the best route, so they don't disturb the river. But we'll have a meeting, so hopefully we can all get a little more information.
But if we do have a public meeting, I think it would be helpful to put it on our website, if it isn't already.
Any further questions for Jim?
Yeah. Is that it, Jim? So on the Route 6 sewer on the bid package, Can we get that bid package sent to planning?
Yeah, he has a link.
Yeah, but can we get a hard copy sent over there?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of, when you try to look at it online, it's pretty thick, so I just like to review that.
They are revising the package. There's going to be an addendum. I think it's going to be a fairly lengthy addendum. They did not meet all the requirements of the SRF funding because they were looking at one section. So that is being done. But yes, I will get a hard copy.
So it did go out to bid, though?
It's out to bid, yes. We've had a number of companies emailing on it.
Yeah, that's kind of, I've been hearing on the street. So you're the procurement officer on that, going out to bid?
Yes.
Okay, where did we advertise that?
It was advertised in Combis, it was advertised in the Central Register.
It's not on the Central Register yet.
It should be.
It's not, and it's supposed to, that comes out on Wednesday. Hasn't come out, it hasn't been, the other stuff's come out already, so I don't know if it's gonna come out on Wednesday.
So
but
the last one we missed by a day, so it went the following week, so it
Should be out on
I will
Wednesday.
confirm that it's coming out this
Because
Wednesday.
that'll be a problem with the bid process.
It will be.
If it doesn't, if it's not.
So he said Combis, it was there, the Central Register. I will check.
Is that good?
Any other questions? All right.
I'm sorry, yeah, they did say April 18th at the high school. I'm assuming that's a new school, but once I get that information, I will post it on the
What
website.
was the topic again, just so public knows?
This would be on the Vineyard Northeast wind project and
Cabling.
and the cabling, I'm assuming is part of it.
Okay. All right, any further discussions? Jim's report, if not, we move along to approving of minutes. The only ones we need to approve, I guess, on March 11th, 2024, maybe, or follow up.
I haven't had a chance to review them yet, and I'm gonna get a hard copy and I'll do it one time.
I'll move the minutes of March 11.
Sorry.
Should we be making this motion review of what you just said? You haven't reviewed that, right?
I will abstain from the vote then.
Okay. All right, motion made and seconded regarding March 11th. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention? One abstention, I think.
Yes.
4 in favor, all of one, none opposed, one abstention. Thank you. Okay, report on the bill warrant.
My last one, right? Is that my last one?
Well, I don't know.
No, two more.
Well, can we come and watch?
It was the same as always. Oh, we did have a large voided check, but it was, something went out incorrectly. It was voided and went out because it had to be 2 checks, not 1. That was it. Only
Well, we didn't pay
exciting thing.
twice.
Wow.
Yep, nope, nope.
Well, good catch. Okay. Next item 8, Selectmen Liaison Committee Reports and Suggestions for Future Agenda Discussion. We'll, for no particular reason, we'll just go left to right. Ann?
I don't have anything to talk about. I have a affordable housing meeting next week, or this week, tomorrow, Wednesday. And I had to miss the long-term building committee meeting because they did it on a Friday afternoon, which is almost humanly impossible for me to leave work for and attend.
Okay. Shauna?
On Tuesday, I attended the Finance Committee meeting to talk about the warrant article for the municipal light plant. They had a really good idea that we should call it the Westport Fiber Municipal Light Plant to avoid confusion, so I thought that was helpful. The School Building Committee was posted a meeting but didn't have a quorum, so we didn't end up meeting. And that's all for me.
Okay. I did attend a meeting of CERTA, the Southeast Regional Transit Authority. Jim knows this, but we pay about $50,000 a year as an assessment to run the buses. And the only bus I guess we're talking about, the main bus, is the one that goes between New Bedford and Fall River, but there are other buses that you see around town. And there's going to be a big increase there, percentage-wise, like 30% in terms of the new budget. And that relates to an undertaking that I think I mentioned at a prior meeting. It was to have Sunday service. At the same time, they were allowing for a period of 6 months.
Sorry about that.
Is that related to the service?
Shut off his audio.
So they extended Sunday service, and there's a cost involved in
No, he
that.
needs to mute. You need to mute.
Yeah, what do we got here?
Did you mute your side?
No idea.
Oh, we're on. Here we go.
We're good.
There we go.
People must be excited about this report. I did advise through memo to the Finance Committee that we need to increase in the '25 budget from 51,000 to approximately 65,000. And I would have no problem with you or the Finance Committee talking to CERTA about that. This was a preliminary budget. It hasn't been approved. There was a long explanation. I'm going to have a tough time to explain why it was higher than 2.5%, because they operate under 2.5% requirement, Proposition 2.5. And it was an exception related to this new extension of service. And the service extension is to end after 6 months. I forget when it started. It would go for a few more months anyway, as well as the free fare. None of the buses are being charged fare at the present time. But there's already sentiment to expand or to continue both the free fare and the Sunday service. Sunday service apparently is quite popular. I didn't know that, but it is. So this is what caused this, and I asked a number of questions on it. We simply adopted the preliminary budget, but there'll be further discussion if necessary. But I don't think that's going to change anything, because our share of this, it's based on population, so Westport's share is very small. Any vote of Westport is not going to change the outcome unless it's a tie. And it won't be a tie, because Fall River and New Bedford would probably be inclined to do this, and they're favorable toward it. So anyway, this comes out of the blue. It's an extra $15,000, and we should put it in the budget. But that's just my report on that. It wasn't good news, but it serves a good public purpose, I do believe. And I'm sure a lot of Westport residents also use the Sunday service. So, the audit committee will be meeting next Monday night. That's why I was nervous when you said there was a meeting here. We're having an audit committee meeting next Monday night here, we hope. Anyway, in future meetings, I do have an item, and Jim, you and I talked about this, but on the schedule, this is the schedule that we get for all the things we have to do in the budget process. March 25th, which is today, Select Board to approve the ATM warrant for posting. Now, we're talking about May, so it's not like the election's coming up here is going to interfere with this. So will we be having at this again? Is my question for a future meeting.
Yeah, was scheduled for the 8th.
The 8th, okay. All right. That's right, I think you did.
And that's consistent with previous years. We bumped it up last year or the year before.
Yeah, right. Okay. So we still have time to do that, of course, because we're talking about town meeting.
Didn't we have to have 30 days notice or something? It's just 4 weeks?
It's 2 weeks posting, that's it.
Oh, 2 weeks, okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, we'll look forward to that discussion. And that's all I have. Steve?
Some exciting stuff coming up from Bike and Pedestrian Committee. Earth Day bikes will be April 20th, 9 to noon, and Sunday, 9 to 12. It's going to be at the transfer station. Hopefully Gail will get something to us, Gail Rogers will get something to us for the next meeting. We're also going to be pursuing some design for the north end through Serpent, and Mike Burris is helping with that through Keith McDonald from the committee. Serpent coming up Wednesday, and we had negotiations today, so keep them busy. Fire department negotiations we'll bring before the committee next week, the board next week, next meeting.
Yeah, okay. We look forward to that. Manny? Anything else?
Yeah. So we, Evan Gendro, Christopher Thrasher, and myself did go to Washington, and we had a very good meeting. They opened the door and gave us some ideas on what we should be doing and how we should do it. And we're going to continue to pursue that. I'm looking to, in that agenda, I'll be working with Mike Burris and Bob Dela and Maury to get items on the agenda on what we can discuss. And again, it will have a good turnout, so we'll be looking for someplace a little bit bigger than this to discuss them.
We'll discuss what we need. We'll work it out. I'm not going to set up the school again, more than likely, but we'll talk.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Now, tell me more on this. This is intriguing and good.
We have another. We're setting up another meeting in April and Washington too. So we'll bring the town abreast to it in our next infrastructure oversight committee meeting.
Is that us?
Which is, what's the date on that schedule?
Roger,
Fourth.
Roger, can you mute
Right now, it's scheduled to be here, obviously, have a need for a bigger place.
Roger, can you mute your line for a moment, please?
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
This was this was a surprise to me, and a happy surprise, but this was the Infrastructure Oversight Committee that arranged this? Who arranged this?
No. We volunteered to go out there. Some citizens asked, Tony Vieira said this is something we should do.
Yeah, he's talking about it.
Evan's actually been working at this type of stuff in Washington.
Okay.
So he agreed to arrange a meeting, and we went down Friday and met with him, and then we met with some other people on Saturday informally. And it just so happened, I'd been talking with Maury, and Maury said he was going to be down there, and he actually was down there, and he originally said he was going to meet with us, but he wasn't able to come. And just so happened that Christopher Thrasher was also out that way, and when we reached out to him, he said he could make it, and he showed up. So it was good. I think it was very encouraging, I should say.
Good, good.
Evans kind of set the whole thing up.
Good.
So he's going to move for another meeting in April.
Now, Mr. Vieira was talking about this at the meeting at the high school way back when.
Right.
So that was all.
Yeah, what we're looking at
Yeah.
is because the whole idea of this $34 million that we want to borrow, obviously we want to tap every resource we can.
Absolutely.
So my goal would be to use the $34 million only to get it built and pay as little of that as we can back. So that's all we're trying to do. We're
Great.
trying to see what we can do for the residents.
Yeah, I think that goes a long way. I know that a lot of people have said to me as I go around campaigning that they're concerned about what it would ultimately cost.
Right.
And I keep saying, well, we are seeking federal funds, and so that's all good news. Okay, great. Anything else? Well, that's good. All right. Next item is comments and statements from the public, but the public is gone, so. Val? No? Okay. Boards and committee vacancy list, that's still there, but a little shorter than it used to be. And so that's, we'll move along. Topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance. Not aware of any. Paul, Ernie, Jim? No? Okay. The next item is executive session, so let me read the announcement. This is item number 12. Pursuant to the provisions of MGL C30A, Section 21A, the chair declares an open meeting will have a detrimental effect to A, the town of Westport versus Robert Bronca and James Sabra, trustees of the ANC Nominee Trust, and B, to approve the executive committee minutes of March 11th, 2024. I point out that we will only come back into open session to close the open session. This needs a motion and roll call vote.
So move, Steve Millet.
Second, Shawna Schufelt.
Motion made and seconded, roll call vote.
Manny Saw's aye.
Aye, Steve Millet.
Richard Brewer.
Aye, Shawna Schufelt.
I am Boxler.
We are in executive session. But